Contest Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, Shanshan. Whether it is through the lens of a camera or the reflection on a mirror, all I see is your sincerity. Thank you for sharing your reflections. Now, I will share mine. One of the first things that stood out to me immediately about your speech is you're so relatable. We all have had moments where we looked in the mirror, we check ourselves out like, I look good. And then when somebody takes a photo of us, like, who's this? We all have had moments like that. And for those introverts in the room, I'm sure you can connect really well with Shanshan's speech. Locking herself up in a room with only her devices, only to check it later, 600 messages. Wow. Okay. So when you have all these points to connect with the audience, it really draws and creates that bridge, making us buy not into your speech and also into you. So well done on that. I'm also really impressed by the great uses of language you had in your speech. So Shanshan uses a lot of repetitions. One repetition or rhetorical device used as anaphora. So an anaphora is when you repeat successive clauses starting with the same word. For example, she said, no one can take my video. No one can take my photo. No one can be me. Another example is she said, when I have problems, I hide. When I have solutions, I hide. So you notice when she creates that repetition, it really hammers in her points, creates that emphasis, and it builds up into a crescendo. So your level of language reflects your level of intelligence. So when you have great rhetorical devices, it makes you very credible as a speaker. Great job on that. Now, just as how a mirror can be polished, a speech can be polished as well. And I would recommend some of these things for you to polish. First and foremost, clarify the message of your speech. The challenge I had in your speech was it about looks or personality? Because when I look in the mirror, I see how I look, and maybe I don't like the way I look. But most of your speech was invested on your personality, hiding behind the camera, or choosing not to appear in front of people, or finding problems and then you go hide. So is it about looks or personality? You want to clarify that, because if you can clarify that, your message will stick, make a greater impact. And why is it important? The why, that's missing. Why is it important for us to choose whether to be in front of the camera or behind? In fact, behind the camera is very safe, right? So why do we need to stand in the spotlight? How did you transform when you stepped into the spotlight and in front of the camera? How did your life change? I want you to entice us with the prospect of transformation so that we not just buy into your transformation, we are also invested in ours. When we look in the reflection, we are proud of ourselves and we come to love ourselves more. So sell us with that why. So all in all, you were very relatable. I enjoyed the great use of language you had in your speech. Clarify the message of your speech, looks versus personality, and tell us why we should be in front of the camera and not behind. And Shanshan, your mirror may lie to you, but I will tell you the truth. You have the potential to be a phenomenal speaker. Back to you, Contest.